Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to my online toy museum, and I'm going to continue the last show with the Darth Vaders. So last time we got to see how the 1977 Darth Vader, usually without the lightsaber and without the cape, and then here I have a near mint Darth Vader from 77. You can see all the electronics are really bright, and you have the little lightsaber with the wick and the cape, and he looks pretty clean. Well, moving on to 1995, they came out with a series of action figures with actually a lot of the characters, and they bulked them all up. They made them all look more muscular. So there's like a more muscular Luke and Han Solo and Chewbacca and a stormtrooper and even more athletic looking Princess Leia. So this is the 95 Darth Vader. Lightsabers get traded in and out among these figures, so I have no idea where his is specifically. But you can see if you want to compare to the 77, definitely cuts a different figure for sure. But about the same height, a little shorter. But definitely you can see he's got biceps. That was never a thing back then, but it's kind of cool that they're, trying to make them look like action figures. Also in 95, they had a Darth Vader here. This is part of that. They're going to try to have them give a little bit of action. Like there's a feature. You have a button back here you can push, and he can swing the lightsaber. So the cape is removable, but you can get your finger under there and, kind of there, get him to swing. But then the cape comes off. So not really effective. And as I said in the last show, people didn't really like these Star Wars toys that were very limited positioning. They never did have a lot of articulation at this point, right? They didn't have elbows or knees or anything, and no lateral hips or shoulders. But this is a very specific position. He's got his hand out like, Luke, I am your father. And you can turn the wrist a little bit, and you can turn this wrist, so it's a little better. And you can see there's really much more detail on the electronics on his chest. And then, trying to give him kind of the wind, as he's there with Luke, I am your father, maybe, and the wind inside when they're fighting in the Death Star. And, his cape is billowing. So then moving on to a few years later, 6 years later, we have the 2001 Darth Vader. And now we've gone back to the less muscular Darth Vader. But, again, more detail, keeping up with the detail with the belt. If you compare to the 77 Darth Vader, very little, you have a little bit of a hint of buttons here, but they weren't colored. They're colored, and you can see in 95 they just had silver buttons, and they actually started to color them on this one in 95, and then they colored them a little bit more here in 2001 with the green, and I think just a little bit better overall. Look at the chest plates a little bit wider and shinier. There was more of the silver paint on it. But you see how you have the little silver divots on the nose, and the eyes are a little translucent here on this Darth. That's kind of a cool feature. They were a little reddish. So you don't have that, so you get something and they take something else away. But you have a little bit of articulation with the arm. So he can, not this one. It's like, oh no, only one arm gets articulation. Let's not go all the way. So the shoulder has articulation, it will up in the bicep and then your wrist. I guess that's maybe all you need. But it's always like they're a little stingy. They're like, well, no, kids, that's all you need. You only get that. And you do get the double cape feature. So, and it's billowing. So, all right, we're still sticking with plastic, hard plastic at that point. Well, then came this setup. And this is in 2005, and I'm like, oh, this is it. Now this is going to be the ultimate Darth Vader for sure. Look, now you have Anakin Skywalker, from the prequel series, and look, you can smush his head down and put on Darth Vader, and he becomes Darth Vader, because that's who he becomes anyway. And this was what, $11.99 back then. So, and then you got a little bit of instruction here. So how to do that. And here they are. So here's Anakin. Okay, so that's your Anakin figure. And he's got, all his vestments on. And those come off. So they do come off. Okay. The head pushes down, you see. I'll get that lightsaber out. I'll put that in there and change this lightsaber out. And then this comes off, you see. You can take that off. There, all right, there's a little waist skirt there. And it looks a little anemic there, right? So, all right, well, you can also take off the arms. You can. It's just difficult. And then this one comes off too. It's quite a plug. I mean, take a look at, you can see how it really, the way that it really snaps in there. In one way it's good, but I could see that if you did that a lot, I could see this something breaking here. And I haven't played with this much at all. In fact, I just always kept it as Darth Vader and kept it pretty much in the box. And that snapped on. Because, it's still not the ultimate Darth Vader. The problem with it was it falls apart easily. So, all right, so his head's supposed to go in, okay? So you can put on Darth Vader's skirt. All right, and then that goes around there. And then you take this whole thing and, oh wait, that's right, there's Darth Vader's chest plate. Let's say that. Oh wait, it's upside down. Yeah, and that goes on there, see that? Okay, and then these are your shin guards. Cover up those brown boots. You could see how, you could lose these pieces pretty easily. That's why I just kept it all together in the package all these years. And then you see these little tabs here, and they have a little bit of a hook on them. So it's supposed to push his head down and kind of hook in. There's a little bit of some space here. You see that? It's supposed to push in and then snap down. It doesn't snap down really that well, but all right, there you go. And you have Darth Vader, and then that head turns, and you have, some articulation in the wrist. It turns, and then he's got his lightsaber, and it's a little bent. You can put it in boiling water and then straighten it back out. That's how you straighten out plastic, so he can hold on to his lightsaber, which is bent a little bit. And of course he's got brown shoes on. They didn't account for that. They could have just had it where you pulled the shins off at the knees and you had other shins. That they could have done that, right? That would have been worked even better. But all right, so pretty good Darth Vader. I was like, all right, he's pretty cool. You got a little bit of the brown arms in there, and you could still see that. And I'm like, but they still haven't made the ultimate Darth Vader. Well, then for the 40th anniversary, they had this, which this is the box. All right, so it was a 40th anniversary special edition titanium Darth Vader, and I'm like, well, maybe this will be it. And it comes, here's Darth Vader. So he's metal, and it comes with a stand. So, there he is, ready to fight. And it's got a lightsaber. It actually came with two lightsabers. It came with this one, this guy's holding. No, actually, it's not that one. You know what? I'll show you that one. It's on the Ultimate. It is on the Ultimate Darth Vader. So this is not the Ultimate Darth Vader. It's metal. Yes, he's got some lateral articulation in the arm. His head can move all around. That's great. The waist turns. Lateral articulation in the arm. It's getting close. You don't have knees that bend, but he's metal. He's heavy, so that's kind of cool. He stands well, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you can just stick him, right there in your scene, and he's moving that lightsaber so fast you see it, creating like a blur, right, of light. Well, and then they came out, like last year, I finally got the ultimate Darth Vader in this scale, and here he is. And so I put the lightsaber somewhere I wouldn't lose it and forgot where that is. So he's getting the 40th anniversary lightsaber for now. And here he is with all the great articulation, and his arm moves in all directions, and his wrist, and his legs, and he's moving all directions, and his knees, and he's got ankles that move, and he's got a real material for the cape. And take a look at this. You can pull that off, and look, oh my gosh, it's burnt up Anakin head. Yes, that's right, burnt up Anakin head. And now, actually, when you look at the scale of his head to his body length, it now looks to scale. It always bothered me that he didn't look to scale. You can see the scar here, and then in the back. But now that what it is the head is so big, the helmet, that it makes it look like his legs are too short for his head, actually. If you're into proportions and art, then you would know, that would make more sense to you. But anyway, this is the ultimate Darth Vader. Now, there is another Darth Vader of this scale that's really neat, and it comes with a little Death Star. And before I open it, this is something that I think worth noting. It's labeled, so you have your super laser focus lens. It tells you all this. The North Polar Trench. So the Death Star is so big, does it actually have temperature variations on it if it's in front of a star? Because it also has a South Polar Trench. So isn't that pretty neat? And then they tell you there's a hangar bay here. There's an equatorial trench, and they even have it, labeled like in equatorial, so hey, enter at the N7 or S7, N7, S7 equatorial trench. There you have your city sprawl, another hangar bay, command core overbridge. Who knew, right? Throne room tower is up here. Tractor beam held there. Turbo laser tower. There's one I guess right there. Mid-hemisphere trench. And another hangar bay. I've never seen this on any toy. Another mid-hemisphere trench labeling. So pretty neat, right? Now you can see that they put all that effort into it. All right, well, you can open this up, and he's got jostled around. But you can see there's some things to help lift off Darth Vader's mask, because inside is Darth Vader, 1998 Darth Vader, sitting in his command chair. Okay, so basically he'll just sit here all day, right? It's almost like that, right? He just sits in his chair, and then they come in the room, and the chair, he's facing in here, and then it turns around, and he's like, what? He's just been doing, what's he been doing all day, sitting there by himself in a room in front of a computer screen? Who knows what he could be doing? All right, so there he is. It's even got a little peg for his foot. And so here's Darth Vader. And I'm going to show you something pretty cool on him. So he will actually stand, and he's got knees that bend. So not bad. Can't turn his hands or anything. But he's got a real billowing cape. So it's like, okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you the billowing cape. We'll give you the knees that bend. And when he talks to the Emperor, when he talks to the hologram, look, it's hologram Emperor. Look at that. He can talk to him. So, what great best of friends they were. And check this out. So this comes off, and you're like, oh, electronics, but wait for it. And it's gross. Yes, it's the back of his scarred head. It's all gross and You know, they didn't make the brains hanging out. They could have made the brains hanging out. But let's compare that to our other maskless Vader. So there you go. So that really looks like the actor, though, doesn't it? With the sunken eyes and all red around the eyes and everything. Pretty good. So can you change the helmet? If you nah, it won't fit on. But look, this helmet even has a little bit of the reddish eyes that I was telling you about. That's realistic. So this really is the ultimate Darth Vader. So if you can find one of those and you love Darth Vader, go out and get one. All right, so that's the Darth Vader portion of this series, and I will be back with more Star Wars toys.